Tonight on Not News, it's a year with new hopes and new dreams. A time to try new things like cold plunges, vegetables, and therapy. A time to leave things behind, like cigarettes, alcohol, late nights, and your job. Not financial advice. A time to hold ourselves to a higher standard. But it's not always easy alone. Sometimes we need help. And I think it's time for us to help our politicians hold themselves to a higher standard. Because over the last few years, we've watched elected officials behave as if they're on an episode of Drop the Mic. And watching James Corden was bad enough. I'm talking about decorum, or the lack of it, in the House of Commons and in the media. Name-calling, insults, character attack, and verbal assaults among our political leaders has caused disorder in the House of Commons, where our federally elected officials meet to propose and debate our nation's future. I'm sure many of us experienced over the holidays that debates are not a family-friendly activity. But unlike that Bailey's-fueled family Christmas dinner blow-up, our House of Commons has rules. Like, no drinking anything except water. They had to make that a rule, which really makes you wonder what happened. In fact, a lot of rules in the House of Commons are common sense, which is concerning. Members have to be in their assigned seat. No interrupting people speaking. No speaking without permission. Stand to speak. Sit when not speaking. No cravats, except ties. No swearing, threats, smoking, eating, photos, phones. Grade school. These are the rules for grade school. And the teacher in charge is called the Speaker. They enforce the rules of the House. The history of the Speaker's job is so daunting that the tradition remains on their first day they have to be dragged to their seat. In 1867, the House of Commons was home to uncontrollably rude and disorderly conduct. From throwing paper, books, and firecrackers to making music, screaming, and imitating cats. Basically just a room full of James Cordens. Although behavior in the House has gotten better since 1867, it recently got so bad that the Speaker attempted to start a day with a speech reminding members of decorum. A speech that he was almost unable to get through. He was spoken over, interrupted, told not to bother. The foundation of Parliament is built on debate, tolerance of differing opinions, and freedom of speech. It's the heart of parliamentary democracy. The intention of debate is to question the validity of the principles of a bill or motion, then the specifics, and then if it should pass. Debate must be relevant, specific, and presented without visual aids, which I wholeheartedly support. Could you imagine watching an elected official try to get a PowerPoint presentation to work? Just 1 second, Mr. Speaker, it was working at home. What was that command again? Alt F4. Oh no. Members are also required to direct all their comments to the Speaker and address one another by title, not their names. This is done intentionally to keep things impersonal. It's kind of like when two people are fighting on a sitcom and they speak through someone else. Well, you can tell Joe to go eat dirt. Well, you can tell Emma to go eat worms. In fact, there are a ton of procedural rules like this found in the riveting publication, The House of Commons Procedures and Practices 3rd edition, available at ourcommons.ca. But most relevant is this. Remarks directed specifically at another member which question that member's integrity, honesty, or character are not in order. Most heckles and jeers are ignored so long as they don't disrupt the proceedings. But what happens when someone's out of order? How do you discipline the leaders of the nation? You make them take it back. That's right. The Speaker will instruct the member to recant their statement and apologize. It's like confession. Say what you want, repent, all is forgiven. My dad's not gonna like that joke. But if they refuse, they get named. Naming is when they use the member's actual name instead of their title, and it gets added to the official naughty list, which hasn't been used since 1985. It's the political equivalent of your mother yelling your first, middle, and last name. You know you're in trouble. A member can be removed from the House for a day or longer, and the House can decide on further actions against you. Did you refuse to leave? The Sergeant-at-Arms can get involved. They carry a giant ceremonial mace. Basically, you get suspended from school, pending an expulsion, and maybe even a spanking. Some might be into that. These rules only apply in the House of Commons, and as soon as they're outside in front of the media, school's out. And you better roll up your sleeves because the teacher's not coming to save you. I've talked about this before, but our news barely covers the policies and the work our government actually does. Instead, we're living entertaining clip to entertaining clip, putting our focus on performative behavior instead of performance. When we give our attention to their snide, rude, and insulting quips, it's like laughing at a child when they do something silly. By giving that behavior an audience, we're giving that behavior a reward. And what are they going to do? More of it until you're sick of it. Are we sick of it yet? Follow me for more parenting advice. This behavior bleeds from the House of Commons to the media, to our homes, to individuals, to the hearts of Canadian people. Lowering the standard of dialogue to that of a high school locker room. Childish language facilitates childishness. Combative language combativeness. Divisive language, divisiveness. Becoming an elected official should be one of the highest validations of one's character in the country. Being chosen to lead the entire nation. They should be setting the standard of behavior for children. And all of us, not acting like them. The speaker may be sparing the rod, but we no longer can. As the 2025 federal election gets closer, parties will start to ramp up their rhetoric. I, for one, am not interested in seeing our leaders treat each other the way James Corden treats service staff. I'm interested in the example they set, the policies they pass, and how they can help the Canadian people. Because that's their job, not attempting to be relatable with pre-written jokes. I don't want relatable leaders. Relatable is drinking 3 bottles of half-off wine at Cactus Club on a Wednesday and then struggling to make it through the rest of the week. But as long as we reward their behavior by focusing on it in the news and sharing it on social media, the behavior will continue because we're validating it. So before we go cheering and sharing sound bites, maybe we should ask ourselves a question. If we saw children behaving that way, would we redirect that behavior and not encourage it by giving it an audience? Because the lower the standard is for our leaders, the lower the standard is for all of us. And I think we're all better than that. So if you want to see our leaders behave in a standard the whole nation can look up to, let them know. Write a letter, send an email, make a phone call, comment on their socials, not negatively. Send them this. Because the future of our nation is not a high school reality TV show. They're fighting for their jobs, our vote, our respect, and hopefully our nation. It's time we make them earn it. And if you want to know what's not news, I'll be right here. What do you have against James Corden? He was rude to restaurant staff? Okay, whatever, he won't see this.